Hey, my name's Will. Welcome to another graded video. First video on PowerShell. Actually, it's not technically the first. The previous one was kind of a short introduction, but in this one we're really going to get into what some commands are and really start using PowerShell, which is cool. If you don't have a clue what PowerShell is and you really want to know what it is, like I said in my previous video, perhaps you've seen a job that you want to apply for and it says you must have PowerShell knowledge. If you go back and watch my previous video first, I kind of delve into a little bit about why I think you should learn PowerShell and why I think it's useful. The great thing about PowerShell, before we start, is that it's already built into your Windows machine. It's proprietary to Windows, so we don't need to start by downloading any software. If you're worried that you're going to get something wrong, perhaps you could run it on a virtual machine, but for now, you should be fine just running PowerShell on your host machine. We're not going to do anything today, or at least for the next couple of videos, that's going to really change anything to do with your computer. So, without further ado, let's get started. So the first thing you want to do is open up PowerShell. So if you come over to your search bar and type in PowerShell, you're going to see two different results. You're going to see PowerShell and PowerShell ISE. Oh, if I typed in PowerShell correctly, you would see two results. There we go, PowerShell and PowerShell ISE. Now we're going to work in PowerShell ISE. All that basically means is it's got an integrated scripting environment. We're not going to be doing scripting for a while, but it's good to get used to that environment. So if we right click this, run as administrator, obviously click yes. I'm going to click no because I already have one open. So you're going to be faced with this page. On the right hand side, you've got a list of commands that you can use. Another great thing about PowerShell is it's got the commands right in front of you, so you're never wondering what they are or trying to work them out. You don't even need to memorize them because they're actually right here. We're not going to be using that today because we're actually going to learn some commands, so we're going to shove that over there. We've got your scripting environment along the top. Again, we're not going to be using that today. It is really great, this little thing, because you can actually see your scripts running in real time, but we're not going to be doing any of that today, so we can move this out of the way. We've got a nice, clear, clean terminal window. Now, the first command we are going to want to learn in PowerShell is the help command. The help command, as I've said before, it is really powerful command. If you get it right, then technically you should never need to Google anything to do with PowerShell. Everything you need to know about PowerShell is built into PowerShell, into the help directories. So if you can learn how to use the help command properly, then it should give you a really strong setting for going in the future. Say like you're in employment and your employers ask you to do something in PowerShell. You don't have to run off to the toilet and start Googling stuff. You can just use the help command within PowerShell and eventually work out what it is you need to do. So without further ado, let's get started. So as I said before, we're going to be doing the get help command. Now, say like you're in a situation where there is a computer going really slow and you need to know why the computer is going slow, or you're working on a server and you need to know why the server is being slow, or you need to verify that a service is running on that server. A command that you might want to use is get service. Now, you might not know what get service actually is, so you want to search get help. And we know that we want something to do with services, but we're not quite sure what it is yet. So we want to search get help asterisk services, or service even. So get help asterisk service. All that means is get help on anything to do with service. So we don't know what we're searching for yet. We don't even know if a command exists to do with service, but we're going to try and look for it. So get help on service. There we go. It's returned a few results. So here under name is all the commands that are to do with service. What category they're in? They're a commandlet, so they're a command. Where it found them, and if you expand this bit, you can actually get a little synopsis as well. So we're going to run get service. Now, we don't quite know what get service does yet. We know that we probably want to use that one, but we want to double check that that's the right one. So we want to type in get help, get. And the great thing about PowerShell is it's for lazy people. It really helps because it actually completes the command for you. As you can see, get service has been highlighted, so you can just press tab and that's it. It's really efficient that way. So here we have get help on get service. So press enter and we can see the name of the command, the syntax, the alias. An alias is basically just another way of saying a shortened way of typing this. So if you can't be bothered to type in get service, you can just type in gzv and it's going to give you the same result. So we know the name of the command, we know the syntax, all the parameters we can add to it, all the different kind of add-ons we can put onto get service, the alias. We still don't really know what get service does. We can kind of summarize that get service is probably the command that we need to use for getting a list of services, but we're still not entirely sure. So what we can do now is type in get service dash full. So you can do this for all the commands, by the way. It doesn't have to just be get service. It could be get help set service full. Basically, this is going to give us all the information we could possibly ever need on the command get service. So it's going to give us parameters that we can use. It's going to give us dependent services. It's going to give us a synopsis of how we can actually use the get service command, which is really, really, really helpful. So now we know the command is get service. We can go ahead and type in get service, tab to complete. There we go. We've got a list of running services on my host PC. So we've went from not knowing what command to use at all. We've used the get help, look for something to do with service. We've found the correct get service command. Now we want to know a bit more about get service. So we've typed in get help on get service. Well, we've not typed in on, but you can see get help, get service. And then we want to see some examples, maybe a little bit more parameters on what we can use with get service. So we've typed in get help, get service, full. So now we can type in get service and we've got a list of services. So as you can see, the help command is actually really, really, really powerful. You don't even need to know the full word. Instead of get service, or sorry, instead of get help service, what I could have done is get help S, and that's going to give us everything that includes an S. Now you might want to know a little bit more information rather than just S before you start searching for stuff, but it just kind of shows you that the get help command is really, really powerful, and you can see there was no loading times. It's really, really, really quick. There's a few other commands we can do just to finish off today's lesson, just because so you feel like you've actually learned something apart from the get help command. There's also get date. That's going to give you today's date. We get, if you've forgotten the command that you've typed in, you've got get history. So you can see the list of commands that I've typed in. And if you, for any reason, want a random number, you can type in get random, and it gives you a random number. I kind of like to finish every lesson with just like a little cool thing you can do in PowerShell, because it's not boring, it's quite cool to learn, but it can get a bit bogged down, so it's quite cool to see all these little funky things that you can do with it. So get date, get history, get random. But yeah guys, that was the help command. Stick around for the next one where we're going to start working on actually moving around the PC, bit of file management and creating some new items. So it should get a bit more interesting after this. Okay, thanks. See you later.